Hello everyone, and welcome back to Old Dad's Modeling Mess. And in today's video, I finish up the Soviet SU-85M Tank Destroyer. Now that you're still here, I know I left you guys with a big WTF moment at the end of the last video, but I think you guys will like it. It'll be worth it in the end. And yes, if you haven't guessed by now, I'm doing a blue and white winter camo on it. This actually kind of goes back to a discussion that me and Andy from Novice Modeling and Midlife Crisis was having, because I did a what's in the box video on one of my other tanks, and in the back of the instruction booklet, it showed the camo in blue and gray, and I was like, well, that's kind of neat looking. And I didn't realize that they were using the blue and the white, to separate the two colors or whatever. I thought they were actually going to do like the blue and the white. And from what I understand, I think Andy thought the same thing, and then somebody told him what it was, and then I realized what it was after me and Andy were talking about it. But that kind of stuck with me. And I for some reason, I was like, I play these video games, and I've seen blue and white winter camo before, in the video games. And I can't lie, I don't see this being a far-fetched thing. I mean, the armies did all sorts of weird stuff with trying to, come up with new camo and stuff like that. And I could see, the Russians coming up trying something like this, because the winter weather that they have and stuff like that. So I ran with it. I didn't know I was going to do it on this build until I was doing the other, I think it was the T-35. I was building it, and it was another Russian tank that was green, and then so I've got the T-34-85, I've got the T-35, and then I've got the KV-2 there, and they're all green, and they're just different shades of green with the washes. I was like, I got to do something different. And then, as soon as that hit me, when I needed a break from the T-35, I started working on this. And then, because I'm one of those people that, if I think of it, I need to start it so I don't forget it. It's just the way I am, so sorry. But as soon as I started it, that's what this was always going to be. It was going to be the blue and white winter camo. As you guys can see, I do know how to use chipping fluid. This actually works out really good for this small camo pattern like this. I didn't know how well it would work, but I figured I'd give it a shot. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is I just needed to reshoot the white over it and figure out how I was going to do it, But I thought for sure that it would work out. Originally I thought about doing the tiger stripe thing on it, and then as I started chipping away, I just kept going, and the more I chipped, the better it looked, in my opinion. So I couldn't stop. I just kept rolling with it. I was just really surprised and happy. This wasn't exactly how I planned it, but it was a happy mistake, I guess, if you really want to call it a mistake. I was just like, oh, dude, this is cool. This looks, this looks really badass. So like I said, I kept going with it. Now, as I'm going here, you know, the way that this is turning out, my mind now is just really racing. I think it's going like 5 million miles an hour, and there's just more stuff hitting me. Hey, do this one, this. And so originally, I was just going to leave it the blue and white winter camo like you see here. Just weather it and call it done. But as I said, my brain overthinks things way too much. And the next thing you know is you'll see here shortly, I'm adding a camo net to it. So yeah, just wait for it. I was listening to my music, and I kept going with it. used for the camo net was some old gauze. I bet this stuff was at least 15 years old. This stuff was, yeah, the paper package that it was in, it was yellow. We used to go camping and stuff like that, and so we have a bunch of leftover stuff from first aid kits and everything like that. And I was trying to figure out the best way to do this, and I hopped online and I was looking up camo net, and I was like, well, hell, that's basically just gauze. And so, yeah, that's what I did. I just found some old gauze and went with it. My wife, she is a volunteer firefighter and an EMS. So she has her own medical bag that she carries with her and stuff like that. So we have plenty of supplies like this, and I bet you I could probably find 15 more old half-used first aid kits and stuff. So we didn't lose out anything. Right here, originally I thought that big piece, and then I was like, oh no, I'm going to use this full piece, and I couldn't get it to quite go down in there the way I wanted it to. So I went to get it wet, and that was a big mistake. I don't know if it's just because it's so old or what, but it just, as you see, it just rolled up on me. I was just like, okay, let's see here. How do I fix this? Because I had no clue what the hell to do. So I grabbed another piece, and yeah, it didn't work either. So as you see, I'm struggling here. I'm trying, and what I ended up doing was I used a big piece, and I put it across it to get it, because as soon as you can see, it's rolling up everywhere, and it was just a pain in the ass to try to work with. So what I did was I took the one of the big long pieces while it was still dry, hung it on there, and then I started dabbing the edges of it to the tank, to the hull and stuff like that, with a little bit of water. And I had to do it in a weird pattern so it wouldn't do this like it's doing now. As you see, the biggest reason I didn't use this one was as you can see right there, that end, it just rolled up. Well, the other end did too. So now I'm trying to get it to unroll, but it just won't do it. So if anybody's ever welded before, if you're welding steel together, especially thinner stuff, you gotta spot weld it here and then spot weld it there, and then you gotta keep doing that so you don't warp it. Well, to do this, what I had to do was dab a little bit here and there so it wouldn't roll up on me. When you see the results, you'll see why I did it that way, because it actually worked flawlessly. I mean, as you can see, I didn't like the way that was sitting there, so I was able to pick it up, I was able to move it, and it worked great. It really did. Now, don't worry, my mind was racing, and there was still a lot more left to do. And, this dabbing the water on to do this and to do that and to get it to stick just gave my mind all the more extra time to come up with all this extra stuff. And trust me, there's a lot of it. So sit back, enjoy the music. And what does a camo net need? It needs some sort of foliage. Yep. That is foliage. And believe it or not, those are real. Those are real little flowers. We went to a hobby store here where we live. It's the name of it's Hobby Lobby. There's a bunch of them over here in the States. I don't know if they have them anywhere else. But it's more of a arts and crafts store with decorations and stuff like that. But they do have modeling supplies. And, you know, spring had just got here. And as we were in there walking around doing our thing, I had seen a video here on YouTube where somebody had used, I can't remember exactly what, dehydrated mini red flowers. And they said they got them from Hobby Lobby. So we went looking around, and I even had a sales clerk come help us and stuff, and we couldn't find any of that stuff. And they said, well, have you checked out our flower collection? So walked over there, and as we were looking at them, this was in a big bouquet. Like I said, it was the fall flower collection, and spring just hit, you know, kind of like Walmart putting out Christmas decorations in August. So, you know, I mean, I guess we had that going for us. But it's 60% off. I couldn't pass it up, so I bought 2 of them. I gave the wife the flowers, and I chopped off all these little white things off of them. So I got my foliage that way, it worked out pretty good. And originally, it wasn't to put on the model, for this. It was for a diorama because the person I had watched, they had done this Italian city diorama where they had some buildings and some tables and and chairs and all this and all that, and they'd use these little flowers for the the flowers in the diorama. So when I thought about doing the camo net, this just hit me, as I was going. I'm like, oh, shit, that's going to work out great. I mean, because the little flowers are white, and then the stems and stuff are, the off-white. So it worked out really, really good, I think. But I was trying not to overdo it too much. But you know how that goes. While I was doing all of this, my mind continued. What else can you do, Ed? You got to do more. I mean, come on. And so I'm just sitting there. I'm listening to my music, and I'm talking with the wife, because I think it right now she's at the table behind me, and she's painting a nativity scene. She ordered a ceramic nativity scene back around Christmas time and stuff like that, and she's just now getting around to doing this stuff. And so she was back there. I was talking with her. We're listening to music and everything. And as all this is going on, Ed, you can't have a winter camo without snow. And I was like, hey babe, I think this needs snow. And she's like, well, you just shut up. I just started laughing. I was like, she goes, no, you're right, it does. I mean, it would make sense since it's supposed to be winter. But she's like, you're never gonna see the tank if you keep going this way. So I had to go at it really, really slowly. But I wasn't done yet, because if you have snow, what else do you have? Yes, you have icicles. So I had to make icicles too. So just hang out, listen to the music, and I'll show you how I did the icicles here in just a few. what is winter camo without snow, right? So now the SU's getting some snow on her, and we all know what that means, right? In the afternoon, things get warm, she gets wet, then things get cold, and the next thing you know, there's icicles. Yes, I know where some of your guys' minds went, but moving on, I actually just used some clear 3D resin print, or 3D printer resin that was clear. I know that they have some little kits with the UV flashlights of, I guess they call it UV glue, clear glue. You can find them on Amazon and stuff like that if you look. But I have a 3D printer, a couple of them, and I have some clear resin like you see me using here, and then I have some translucent blue. I thought about using that, but I didn't because I didn't know how well it would work, because I still have to put a wash on it so you don't actually see through it. But you see what I'm doing here. I'm just taking it. I put some clear box tape on top of some painter's tape. That way there it'd be easy to get off the mat. But if you put the clear resin on the box tape, once you cure it, you can bend that box tape and the resin will pop right off. Which, now you've got these clear little icicle looking things. And so I just made a bunch of those and started sticking them on there to make it look, like icicles. And it actually worked out really, really well. So I think if I do any more, I may end up just 3D printing some icicles, because I think that would be even better, because these here are flat on one side, and when you use the UV light to cure them, you're curing it, okay, but over time they'll start to bend and stuff. So with it being, thin and flat like they are, I think if I 3D printed them, that might cure that issue, because I have noticed they're starting to curl some. But when I was doing this at the time, this was something I had just thought of. My wife's sitting back there just laughing her ass off at me because I'm sitting here doing all this other stuff. She really likes the idea, but she's like, dude, you went way too far, with this damn model. But in all honesty, this is a plain Jane model. I didn't buy any extra photo etch. I'm just using the stuff that I have here at the house just to enhance it, to make it look better. And like I said at the beginning of this build series, when I'm done with it, you're never gonna know that it didn't have all that detail. If you look at the sides of it here at the end, when you see the money shots, I don't think you even notice the straps that I had to replace with the stainless steel, because you're so focused on everything else, the camo net, the snow, the icicles, the flowers and stuff like that. And to hang this stuff, it was real easy. I got a little bit of the resin on the where I wanted to hang it at. I picked it up, dropped it, picked it up, dropped it several times. But I'd stick the stuff on there, and then I just use the UV light, and like I said, when you use that UV light, it cures it. So as you see here, boom, now it's glued. This stuff works better than super glue. If you guys want, I'll do a little tutorial video on making these icicles and stuff like that. Just let me know in the comments if that's something you guys are interested in. But as always, guys, thank you for watching my videos. And if you enjoy this type of content, please don't be afraid. Drop a like and a comment below. This lets YouTube know that you like watching my videos. And if you're not already, consider subscribing to the channel. That helps it grow. It helps me make more content for you guys. Plus, I get to buy more model kits, so it's a win-win for everybody. The channel, it has a Discord. There's channels in there for everybody just to hang out and talk. You can post, there's a channel for you guys to post your build pictures in, build ideas. So if you want to see something on the channel here, post it in there. We'll see what we can do. Tips and tricks. And I have a channel in there where I post pictures of the builds that I do here on YouTube. So, you know, I mean, both subscribing and Discord, they're free. They don't cost you guys nothing. Enjoy the final shots. And until the next video, I will see you guys later. Bye.